Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning. So it's a privilege for me, an absolute privilege for me to share the stage with the Shekhar, okay? And I'm glad I'm able to host this. So we're going to talk about a lot of things about AI. He told me you can ask the hard questions, challenge him, and he's going to, we're going to open the floor to you guys to ask the hard questions to him, right? Uh, yes, this is a Shaker Squared conversation, but we'll try not to interrupt names and cause confusion to you guys. So, jokes apart, um, Shekhar is someone in this audience, does not require any kind of introduction, but yet he deserves to be introduced. So I will just only mention a few salient points and then I'll hand it over to you. The first thing is many people, don't may or may not realize this, but he's a PhD in computer science, and he has been on both sides of the table, an entrepreneur and an operator. And like many people in the valley, respect certain investors who have actually been instrumental in creating Silicon Valley. Here, the Shekhar is instrumental in having found the SaaS wave. And he believed that companies from Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and many other places are going to make it big. And he is instrumental in the, a very, very significant part of the India SaaS community. He has a Midas touch, and I would say it's a record of having 5 unicorn startups in the SaaS space. And the interesting thing is, yet he does not have a Wikipedia page. I was looking for a Wikipedia to find some of the details. So it looks like you care more for substance than spotlight. With that, I hand over to you, Shekhar. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for being so kind. So, I have known the Upekkha team for a very long time, and love their energy, excitement, and the purpose to help the Indian entrepreneurs building global companies. And then I'm also part of the Boomi AI. But today, I'm also representing the community and also a partner at Accel. Quick background about Accel for some of you who may not know. So been on the ground for 15 years. We usually come very early in the startups that are just starting out, typically tech first, disrupting something. So we were kind of the first check in Flipkart, first check in Swiggy, first check in Urban Company, first check in Moneyview. These are all multi-billion-dollar companies. Moneyview is in the fintech area. First check in Accel, which is an insurance company. Then first check in Zetwork, which is a B2B marketplace. Second check maybe there. First check in, I'm missing the names. We have 30 such companies. And I focused on entrepreneurs building for global market, originating in India. So those are the set of companies like Freshworks, Chargebee, Zenoti, then Amagi, BrowserStack, then FalconX. These are all the companies which have grown really large right now. But when we started, they were tiny, small, and reimagined how we could partner with some of these founders to build extraordinary companies. So that's about my background and Accel. Let's start.
So you told me I can ask difficult questions. But initially, from a fundamentals itself, Shekhar, we are hearing that India has lost the model race. But at the same time, we are talking about opportunities in India from deployment, right? So it's a time for deployment of AI. What is your views on what is the actual opportunities for Indian founders, whether they're building it for global or for India?
So if you take the AI, this is what I call as an unprecedented time and an unprecedented opportunity. And this kind of opportunity rarely comes. So I wish I was young today and I could build a startup. Because this kind of things, you have to wait decades. So when I started my career, that was the dot-com time. And I just graduated. I was in the valley. I saw the power of Netscape, Yahoo, Infoseek, Excite. Unbelievable activity. Then post that, it went crazy and some things fell apart, but you got the Amazons of the world and you got infrastructure. Lots of companies came out. Then the mobile. Then we rode that. I was part of two startups in the valley. Both rode the mobile wave. One was sold to Motorola. Another one was sold to Verisai. Then the global SaaS wave. So the SaaS wave has been happening for the last decade. Initially, between 2007 to 13, 14 was that wave. Then it became a sleepy, like, it just one more SaaS, like that way. But now AI is opened up. This wave is bigger than what I have seen in my life. And it's an unbelievable opportunity. On one side, everybody is concerned about, hey, what will you do on jobs and all? But on the other side, that is an extraordinary technology that can rewrite every enterprise, everybody's use cases, and that opportunity set. We are seeing in the, I would call it as first 50 meters of a 10-kilometer run. And we cannot declare that, oh, we have lost it. So in the first 50 kilometers, usually the first wave, what I call as the first wave, the global guys win it. So that is the LLM model companies, infrastructure companies, and the companies that, what I call them as PLG-led, fast-moving PLG-led, where people are measuring revenue per employee, $1 million, $5 million. Those are the first wave of companies. But that can't be the only wave. I think in the next 12 to 24 months, my belief is that we will see extraordinary number of companies from India in the second wave, but not necessarily in that area.
Got it. So at a high level, what we are hearing is that it's a tremendous opportunity, right, for Indian founders to build. But when we look at the root of it, there is still confusion in terms of should we go vertical, should we go, we see success in prosumer, we see success in consumer like Cursor and all that from the US. Should that be what Indian founders should be focusing on? Should India founders be focusing on vertical? Because boring verticals is one of our theses that we are talking about. So what do you think Indian founders should be focusing on? And also, India market versus US market, because of the nature of LLMs, right? Is it possible that data and LLMs is something unique in AI? So is it possible that the Indian founders have an advantage when they work with vernacular languages versus English? Your perspective on that?
Two questions you have. Yeah. India versus global. And second one is where opportunities exist for Indian founders, horizontal versus vertical. Okay, let's pick horizontal versus vertical. So my belief is that for new use cases or a new set of behavior patterns, the PLG-led motion, that works. Lovable. Lovable is, 60% is hobbyists. People who have never written an app in their life, they are writing the app, right? And they're moving very fast and scaling, adding maybe 20 to 30 million each month right now in their ARR. But if you ask the question, how many of these applications are getting really used in a commercial setting? Very, very, very small percentage. People are having this vibe coding, having fun, building some interesting things, but for them using personally and occasionally for one or two. So horizontal new use cases, I won't say that it has taken over the world. But if you look at vertical, you look at insurance, you look at healthcare, you look at manufacturing, you look at retail, you look at accounting, legal, it is messy. Anytime there is a messy world, I believe founders building cross-border companies with India or even Philippines have an advantage, significant advantage, compared to just valley companies, 10 employees building super fast PLG motion. Because the messy world, your AI can get only up to 90% accuracy level. But 90% is not sufficient. You have to get to 99%. To get to 99%, you do need to understand the domain. You do need to understand the workflows of these companies, and you do need to understand how they deal with their customers. And all of them requires a human layer to get the outcome. And when you want the human layer to get that outcome, guess what? That's where the capabilities are. I'll give you an example. So we invested in one company called Rapid Claims, and this is in insurance medical coding. The largest number of medical coders, guess what? Where they are? They are in India. Okay, there are 120,000 medical codes. A valley company cannot solve medical coding for a hospital because each hospital, say 100 to $1 billion hospital in the US, will have maybe 20 specialties. And for those 20 specialties, when consumers come and use that, they may have a relationship with 100 insurance companies. So when you code for, say, a brain surgery, going to Aetna as an insurance company, what exactly to write so that the insurance company sends you back 90, 100%. That knowledge is sitting in Bangalore, actually. It's nowhere in the world. Why? Because we have been doing services for ages. So if there is an AI company, like Rapid Claims, picked best of that knowledge, best of the AI engineers, packaged it, getting to 95, 96% accuracy, one of the fastest moving, but they have to put forward engineers in the customer to make sure that product works. This will not be solved by a valley company with 5 people. This requires AI team. This requires knowledge of the market and how the market operates. This requires strength in medical coding, how to bring the experts in medical coding to be part of it, with the reinforcement learning, because the medical coders are writing, it's a co-pilot model, and you are making go fast. When you look at this complexity, it is still AI first, still giving phenomenal results. Human medical coding is only at 80% today. These guys are already able to get to 95, 97%. And they're adding every week one new specialty and continuously covering it. That, I would say, thousands of opportunities. This is one example. You look at any vertical large industry, minus valley tech companies, thousands of opportunities.
So I'm hearing the word messy in the middle, right? Or the messy middle. So I think that's a clear message for founders as a takeaway, in terms of opportunity. So why are we not seeing the founders moving fast?
No, I think what I see is, in the history of Indian startups, typically we are good in second and third wave.
Second and third wave.
We rarely be the first wave folks. So you look at it. Flipkart was not the first e-commerce company in the world. Right? It was happening somewhere. Food delivery, Swiggy and Zomato were not the first in the world. We did later, but we innovate on top of it. Freshworks was not the first customer support tool. There was already Zendesk. There were 40 other desk companies. But once we see how things are happening, it takes a little bit. We have a slow start, what I would call a slow start. We take time, we understand, and once we see an example, you start seeing, okay, I could do better than that. I could take advantage of India. So in second wave and third wave, we are seeing already quite a lot of companies in the vertical SaaS. Yesterday, I met another founder, an insurance for just 4 years out of college. The amount of knowledge this gentleman had about the US insurance, especially called for a subset of $100 billion insurance sector, is unbelievable. An AI first engineer went to US, sold door to door to understand what the insurance guys buy, how they buy it, and had a full map of start to finish of what happens, who makes how much, what is the margin, where the margin stress are, and where a automated AI-based voice plus insurance agent he could build and extract value. That clarity is what I would call it about 3 months of hard work, 3 to 6 months of hard work. If we do that, there are insurance itself is like $1 trillion plus. Just reconciliation problem. What is reconciliation? Account reconciliation in the restaurant industry. US restaurant industry is $1 trillion. Trillion dollar. $400 billion is premium restaurants. 600 billion is like walk-ins, like McDonald's and all of them. That $400 billion guys call somebody to supply end of the day. Hey, I need this meat, this vegetables, this stuff, XYZ. And they work with the same number of people. You go and look at that guys who supply. They will have extra 6 people who are taking orders, supplying, and then there's a dispatch team. Only phone call. Can you automate it? That automation idea, if somebody takes and hammers that out, you're talking about at least labor automation of $25 to $50 billion. How many companies can be built? I can think of 50 companies in just that category can be built. Labor cost is crazy worldwide. So you just pick idea, go deep, and hammer it out. Right now, everybody is doing what they know. See, far away, oh, lovable is there, let me build another lovable. We'll lose the battle. Because we are not built for this perfect product, deep access to the OpenAI or Anthropic teams, and the vibe coding community around it. And we are not built for that bottom up. There are teams in India, they're forming. We are backing those also. But they're more exception. My expectation is 80% of our wins will come from this messy world, going deep, nobody is touching them, and that's where we could win.
So, Shekhar, I hear you seem to be excited about this, and we'll come to that because I want founders to know what will take for you to write the check. But before doing that, I just want to, because a lot of the founders, they've been doing SaaS businesses. So how should they rewire this, their thinking for being AI first? Yesterday, our friend Rajan stood up on the stage and said, if you want to grow, you have to cut your workforce by 50% and shaking up things, right? So what would you...
So first of all, for startups to succeed, there are only 2 ways. Either you bootstrap it, right? Build with customers' money, or build with investors' money. There's nothing in between. So if you're stuck in the middle, please move towards bootstrapping, get to profitability, or figure out how to raise. That's one. I've been saying this for the last 15 years. Very few people listen to me, but I'm just telling you, repeating this. I'm repeating everywhere. It's extraordinary that people start as a startup, but don't realize where they belong. One part. 2, amount of money available for AI first companies is crazy. Anywhere in the world. This is the time to be able to raise. It's almost in favor of founders, not investors. The company I was talking about, the insurance company, we met them on Saturday. Somehow people came to know the guy doesn't have a co-founder, doesn't have a company, doesn't have 3 years out of college. 5 term sheets before end of Sunday. And some of people came to know we are seeing it, everybody's on him. That is the advantage of right now. But why it clears, and so we see typically we see 2,000 companies. When people are preparing themselves for raise, most of the founders think raise is the important milestone. Actually, that's not. Actually, understanding the market structure, understanding how I win it. Is this a big enough market? Do I have a right to win? The depth of understanding, what makes the cut. It's not about broadcasting to hundreds of VCs. It's not about meeting them. It's about your understanding of the market, why you would win and how you would win. And if that construct, crispness, is clear in your mind, I'm telling you, you have unlimited money.
So can we stay on that point and, if you can elaborate a little bit more on
I'll tell you how I do it.
What would it take for the founders to
if I go and meet a founder.
Your check.
Okay, so if I go and meet a founder and the founder says, hey, I'm doing it in account reconciliation in retail industry. I'm not an expert. but I read a lot. If I know more than that person, I will never invest. That person is full time on it, should be meeting lots of customers, should know the depth of it. I'm going to ask 10x deeper questions. Most of the people don't do their homework. They say, give me money, then I will do. That works usually for seed, small money. But if you want material money to solve the problem, the question starts with the founding team. How serious are they about that category? Have they spent enough work? Is there depth in their understanding of where is the bottleneck? Where is the real pain point? Understanding of that is the first point. Second is right to win. Do they know how to build the world's best product? People fall off the chair when they see it. If people can show glimpses of what they've done before and how they can win, because usually in every subcategory, 1, 2, or 3 or 4 companies emerge. It's not like hundreds of companies unless the market is very large. So when you have that, every investment firm looks for, is this team going to be the winner? So it's a question of conversation about whether this team is going to be the winner, and that is not like faking. Truly that it comes out. When these are obvious, funding happens. Sometimes funding happens because people have come from extraordinary background, right? That is usually the first check. It doesn't mean it translates into success. That makes it easier. Like, I've come from the top college. I worked in the top company. I know this problem because I was in the insurance for a decade. I understand that. That gives an edge for some of the founders as well. The key part is it's leveling field right now. No, at 15, 20-year experienced person is 5 hours of your team on ChatGPT or Perplexity Pro. You go on it, you ask the question, you'll be an expert. It's not like it's leveling field right now. It's a question of intent, interest, going deep, understanding, and pick a market. Now, we are sitting on a $700 million fund. Every day we are meeting. The doors are open. The question is how many companies are there to invest.
So is there anything different? See, business fundamentals, a lot of it are same, right? It's been staying same. But in an AI-first world, is there anything else different that you look for in a startup, when they come to you?
In addition to what I said, we also look for what is the market, there is a velocity possible. How would you get velocity? Which means not like in 8 weeks go from 1 to 10 million. That is PLG. That is different. But in the enterprise, go to market, eventually comes down to 3 things only. How big is the market? Is there a pain point? Can this team build a world-class product for that market? And do they have an edge in go-to-market? Right? Go-to-market can come from multiple places. So go-to-market is because what you have built is so extraordinary. Customers pull will be there. Because you get first 5 customers, they are so happy with you, and it solves the problem. Automatically the next 5 will come. Vertical, it's much easier. That's how Zenoti got built. That's how our CareStack got built. That's how your Amagi sitting in Banagata Road. In the US, you switch on any TV today. If there is no content, you have to blame Amagi. Entire US content minus Netflix is come out of a team from Bangalore. Right? That is possible to build. And the highest amount of the streaming on free ad-supported TV, anything, you look at Peacock, you look at any, including the Olympics. Worldwide streaming was done by Amagi. Any sports. So it is possible to build. It's not, but question is, you ask them any depth of question about the streaming industry, you will get 100x deep answer.
Interesting. So does go-to-market itself change because of AI? Just one second, because I just wanted to add something. Is we hear people talk and founders hear this, right? Is outcome as a service versus product versus partnering with partners. How should founders look at when they build? Let's say they heed what you're saying. They build something really exciting. How do they take it to customers in the world of AI?
So I am a firm believer in the journey of the startups where the first few customers are great discerning design partners. So you should pick maybe 3 to 4 extraordinary design partners who have credibility and push you. And you build a product that if it takes 6 months, 12 months, doesn't matter. Heads down, make sure that product with an outcome serves the purpose of that company. If you're just a product, SaaS product, one more, I think it's losing shine. You need to be able to use AI fully to extract outcomes or reduce the labor cost or make the workflow run faster or co-pilot where a same person can operate another 30-40% more. Otherwise, you don't get the edge right now. Because AI gives an extraordinary first mover advantage. What it means is, today is a status quo. You come with a new product, with an outcome-based AI product, which is at least several X better than the status quo. Why Rapid Claims out of Bangalore selling to a $300 million hospital and they are going with the medical coding? Because the current thing is retiring 60-year-old medical coders, small hospitals can't outsource to India or Philippines. They go and show up and say, I want to try it out, pick 5 specializations, suddenly it works. Once suddenly it works, guess what? They fall in love with that. People are willing to experiment because the AI, everybody is there, that's a great thing. Everybody wants to experiment. So does lots of companies are pushing half-baked products. So negativity is also starting to build. So if you have a great product for a set of people, first 5 design partners, build it. Preferably if the design partners happens to be in India, they behave like US ultimate because you can be local and build it. But if they have to be in US, it's very nuanced. Then you may have to travel and build that. That's the first part. Once you have it, then you unlock. My preference for channel is always quite late. Channel is when you have a brand, when you know exactly how it works, the problem statements are well understood. So 5 to 50, usually founders have to do it. Founders have to go and sell it, outbound, inbound, conference, it doesn't matter. Build a brand that this product works really well for that market. Then get the influencers in that market, get them as angels, let them open the doors. The interesting thing now is, if your product is really solid, actually go-to-market becomes easier. The go-to-market becomes harder when a product is very weak and you are hammering in the market, pushing it, spending a lot of money, hiring salespeople, but there's no pull because product is weak.
So, Shekhar, I think there's been a lot of insights. I want to also make sure that we give time for the audience. But before we close, I had noticed in one of your LinkedIn posts that your daughter asked you, is timing everything, right? And today we are at that kind of a place where, is this Shekhar Kirani's revolution? Is it for everyone's revolution, this entire AI? If you were not a VC, what would you do? What would your message be to startup founders who are, trying to build a business, but now this new wave is coming? Should they close down the business and do something on AI? How should they think about the whole thing? It's a long question, but
yeah. So this kind of an opportunity, as I said, is unbelievable, unprecedented in human history. This kind of opportunity, I feel, this intelligence as a service, anybody can use. See, today, if you look at the world and all our services companies, our software companies here, all our India startups probably are built for the first 100 million in India. Globally, maybe 500 million. So out of 8 billion, probably we are addressing around 600 million people. Like, look at Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Accenture, IBM. Who are they building for? US and Europe. 250 plus 250, 500 million. India, 100 million. Swiggy, who are they serving? They are not serving the person on the street, right? So maybe 600, 700 million people are addressed. 8 billion population. Opportunity set is like extraordinary. So if I was young today, I would start serially as many startups as possible. Probably I would incubate 100 startups, build 100 unicorns. That is an opportunity set available. And this opportunity, I don't know when it will come again. This is like first mover advantage. Once you are in companies, you grow with them. It's almost impossible for the next person to replace you because they have to do another 5x better than what you do. Look at it, how difficult for Google to fight off Amazon, AWS. You have the world's best engineers. Why they can't replace overnight AWS? That's the power I'm talking about. First mover advantage is extraordinary. Timing is everything. That's what I was telling her. Timing is everything else. You may be the best of the best, but if you start late, you miss. You start too early, you miss. So you have to be right time, right place, use the tech, use human layer plus tech, and go and solve the problem at 5x, 10x better value proposition than what was possible. My own company, CareStack, was doing dentist software, vertical software. They went and did front desk automation, basically removing the front desk person, which is 50 to 60K per year of cost. Fully automated voice bot that schedules, pre-schedules, responds back, and remove that headcount or reduce number of 3 headcounts to 2 or 2 to 1. In an unprecedented pull. Is a SaaS company reoriented themselves on this part in addition to their patient management system, like a massive pull. Massive pull. Same with our Zenoti. Zenoti is doing the front-end automation for wellness industry, and they've just launched it. Pull in the market is unbelievable. Because it is like the real businesses who operate spend 80 to 100K on the front desk. And you say, can you pay me 15K? I'll automate most of it. Once in a while it fails, you will escalate to somebody. It's a slam dunk offering. It has to work, by the way. If it doesn't work, it will fail. So you have to get it to right. You have to work it. Are there technologies on voice? The answer is there. Is there a way to write browser? The answer is there. Is there a vertical context understanding? Yes, you have to spend time in the verticals. If you do that part, you take any industry, pet industry. There will be 5 pet industry, just automating the front office. You go on the pet, back-end insurance, another 5 companies. 10 companies, $1 billion companies can be built in the last 5 minutes I've discussed here. Opportunity set is extraordinary.
Interesting. Very interesting. So unless you have some closing thoughts, I think we should open the audience because we have about 12
Let's hear
minutes.
the questions. Okay. So I want to make sure people understand that this kind of opportunity rarely comes.
Really amazing and very inspiring, Shekhar. Thank you so much. Couple of questions. One regarding, what about pricing models? I think that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs who are techies sort of we struggle with. And I think...
Have you turned on the mic? Because people at the back won't be able to...
Okay, this works. So I'll repeat. What about the pricing model? That's something I think a lot of us struggle with, especially when we talk about vertical AI. Like there is one thing to understand the domain in terms of the problems we are solving. The other thing is the monetization. Should we think in terms of more around services and sort of the kind of growth rates we should expect? I'm gonna be very specific to our case. So we got a $500,000 contract, pure services to build an AI model for one of our customers, right? Great use case. I think we are excited about it, but then we are thinking, oh, is this something that's scalable? Yeah. Is this something that we can replicate to like you rightly said, 5 customers? Should we just focus, build for the next 6 months and then think about all this? I don't know.
Okay, so first on the pricing. The pricing, it's a new model. Outcome as a service. So you have to really understand technology for technology's sake, pricing is a bad one. What exactly this tech is going to change? As I said, front desk automation. You look at the business model of the front desk automation. Total spend for the front desk, human plus the phone call plus everything else is say $40,000. And you say, I will do it at $10,000. And your margin is at 80%. Why would somebody say no? Suppose you get 10,000 such customers. A next person comes and he says, instead of $10,000, I will offer you at $8,000. That ought to be really, really good and extraordinary to do like magical thing for people to switch. This is good enough for me, it works. That is what I mean by first mover advantage. First mover advantage is when you are moving from 40K to 10K is extraordinary. 10K to 9K to 8K. Yeah, okay. So you have to understand the business construct and how it is. Like if you look at our rapid claims, what is the medical coding human labor based cost? You go and spend enough time, you'll understand that on the average per medical code, maybe people spend $5 overall, outsourced, everything else, at 90% of insurance coming back. And you go and say, I'm going to use AI plus human plus everything else, I will do it at $2. Right? And it's still you're operating at 70-80% margin like a software. The question is, what is the problem? What is the outcome? What is the business case, that pitch? That clarity has to be there. Now, with respect specific to you, if there is no extreme velocity, velocity comes from repeatability. Repeatability comes from same ICP, same product, customer's value proposition, and working at high velocity. If that is not there, just build like Infosys. There is like Infosys built without any VC money. Build large companies, man. So don't have to be any VC money. I'm saying is either you build bootstrap profitable way, there will be enough opportunities for that also. But if you want to go VC way, first question will be stopped there is, can you get to 50 customers next year? Can you get to 500 customers next year? If you don't have an answer, less likely you will get funded.
Yeah. Hello. Can I go ahead? Yeah. Thanks, Shekhar. It's wonderful to be, in front of you. Two questions. One is, what would fundamentally AI change within an enterprise, in your opinion?
See, there is a layered answer for that. The first one is, in any enterprise, you have to go to it a little bit more deeper. So if you look at a retail industry, a brand retail industry who supplies, say, McCormick. McCormick, I don't know how many of you know, is like a spice brand, multi-billion-dollar, distributes to every retail across US. They will have 1,000 employees inside. When orders come via email to McCormick back office to say how many shipments have to send it to Walmart, how many shipments have to send it to Target. Most likely they would have outsourced to one of the companies here. Okay, these 1,000 employees, what are they doing? They see the email, go in their ERP, write it. That's all they're doing. Cut, paste, okay, and there will be some accuracy levels. Then there is a checker for checker and checker for checker again, and 3 levels and doing that work. That's how our first wave of digitization happened. That can be fully automated using AI, right?
Right.
If that is like a repetitive use case. In any org, whenever there is a repetitive use case, and that repetition is bulk, that is the first. That's the reason number one automated AI use case is customer support. Because customer support is bulky, repeat, same. And they're trained same. The data exists. So L1, L2, L3 support is getting hammered across the globe because of that. Second is this KPO and BPO workflow automation. There are like thousands and thousands across the globe doing this. That's the reason I'm saying medical coding is one example. Prior auth is another example. Insurance side, which is a massive industry, who has to look at the submission and look at it. That itself is also massive. But they're bulky companies, maybe 200, 500 companies. You need an enterprise grade sales team, enterprise grade product team to go and convince them. Small, young founders will be harder to convince those guys, but it will happen. So I'm saying is you have to go by enterprise. What is the function they do and where they're repeating the same? And can you build a product complex enough with human assisted from India to understand how much they spend it and how much you can automate and give it at. That goes by industry, I'm saying. But my hypothesis, you pick any industry, anything you care about, you can build $1 billion company.
Sure. So you spoke.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Sovit, and I'm developing an idea in a tech. Hello? Yeah. So my name is Sovit, and I was starting to develop an idea in tech AI. So my question is that should people like me who are just starting, should they do it for India first, or should they do it for US first?
Great question. See, the AI is very porous. Now, if you are building it for India consumer versus US consumer, I would say pick India because we understand India and so on. But if you are building it for India B2B, say sub varieties like fintech, India banks, India fintech, that behavior pattern of them is different from US banks and US fintechs. So I would pick India banks because you are nearer. But if it is like any enterprise, I'm building another sales automation or a marketing automation or some insurance vertical or any of the horizontal, why you are restricting yourself to a smaller market? I would build globally, but test India based who are equivalent. See, historically, 10 years back, we had difficulty of extraordinary companies that can test products. Today, you look at Swiggy, Zomato, Flipkart, Paytm, all the scale companies in India, urban company, every one of them, they push the envelope of technology. You're building a tech product in India today, I would say build it for these guys. They're squeeze the value out of you like no tomorrow. You survive for this, you can win anywhere in the world. So that for me is the test. Or even GCCs, one of our company is building a data layer company, one of the world's best. They go and sell in the US. Instantly is a ping pong ball coming back saying that my evaluation team is sitting in Chennai or sitting in Bangalore, which is a GCC, 2,000 of them. So they go and work here locally and show that this works phenomenally well. So decision makers are global. Actual evaluation teams are all in India. That is another 2,000 plus decision makers sitting in India, which rarely our startups attack. So there is enough opportunities to build. But if it is very localized, I would pick India. If it is global, go global.
Thanks a lot. That was very helpful.
Hi, hello, I am Justin. I'm building, because you mentioned CareStack a couple of times, I'm building CareStack for the plastic surgery clinic management in the US. So I had two questions for you. One is, you mentioned that people are not getting it right. You've been telling about them for 15 years, that bootstrap versus VC. If you can tell us what is the biggest mistake that people are doing in taking that decision, that's one. And the next one is, so in the world of AI, you can build standalone AI solutions which can disrupt a part of a business, and you can have AI integrated in the large workflows within the large ERP modules that they're using. Which ones of them will have the long-term win? Is it the standalone ones or the other ones, in your opinion?
So the first one, the mistakes people do are like bootstrapped versus VC backed. VC has its own business model. Most of the founders don't understand that VC is also a business. Most of the people think, why aren't they giving me? That's the reason most hated job function is a VC job function. Because every founder hates them because I sent an email, 300 emails, they don't take the meetings. There is a reason. It's like sales job only. There is a purpose VC industries. It's not my money I'm investing. Of course, there's a part of it my money, but it is global money we are borrowing to invest. First, you have to understand what VC's model work. And you can see what type of companies they invest. Of course, people say, oh, they only invest in great companies. Obviously, we have to make money and return back to our investors. Otherwise, we shut down. So people don't understand that part. So either you have to understand how VCs operate, and therefore you have to align your thinking, thought process, product, market into how VCs invest. Or go bootstrap way. There are only two ways, I'm telling you. In the two startups I was part of, both were bootstrap. Both were sold for 200 million plus. There was no VC money. So it is possible to build. The second question you had for was on entry, whether it's a full versus a piece inside an ERP. My recommendation is the hardest thing for a startup is the land product. What do you land with the product? The land, what I call as, it has to be like a sharp knife. Behind the scene, you are pulling a big boat or a big ship. You try to sell a ship, it just bounces off. So you need a spear strategy is what I call it as. So any startup that has a phenomenal land product, very sharp, well-defined, doesn't require 300 days of integration, and the customer sees value, aha moment instantly, is a great entry product in that vertical. I don't know what you would do, but you have to get there, and they don't have to think, they don't have to worry about, and they can make a call. Once you are in, upsell, cross-sell, expansion is unbelievable. This is the one I like personally because that's the way that can remove friction in the go-to-market.
Thank you.
Hi, yeah, hi, Shekhar. Thanks for your insights. I'm founder of Arogram. We also work in the US healthcare industry. So we are solving that specific use case of benefit verification, right? So which is very highly niche, and you can call it like a land product, so to speak. But so there's the first order effect is, making things efficient operationally, but there is also strong pull on going into other parts of the adjacent use cases, which are important for the customer to be solved. And it's also important for us to provide and actually measure the full value, because right now we don't have a lot of visibility, how our solution is impacting, right? But on the other hand, there is also...
What's the question?
Yeah, the other choice we have is make the product more better and target similar customers and bigger customers. So how do you think about comparing these choices? And one is about the investment.
So if you want to continue on the VC part, raise money from investors, angels, seed, funds, Accel, whatever it is, you have to be narrow, deep, well-defined outcomes and land more customers. And velocity of customers, because I am saying is first more advantage. This prior auth you're talking about is not like a hidden idea. Lots and lots of companies are already talking. We don't know who will win. The winner will be first mover into a class of companies or class of customers who they can attack and win. Could be vertical, could be horizontal, could be big hospitals, could be small hospitals, could be small last mile things. I don't know which one you were picking, but whatever it is, if there is a high velocity demonstration and there is a possibility, the thought process should be around that to be able to raise. If you're saying, I don't want to raise, I want to win, I would do what you're doing. Go horizontally, get 5 customers, build everything for them, get the 6th one, make sure each customer is profitable. So you're not throwing cash at the go-to-market side. See, in 10 years, if you don't build somewhere between $100 to $300 million revenue, that doesn't make a case for a VC. $100 to $300 million. Right now, Valley VCs are looking for $1 billion in 10 years. And internally, you pitch it to me, and I have to go on my colleagues and say, you will build $200 million industry in 10 years of your own revenue. The question is how? And I have to come up with that answer. How? 5 times. And if I can't answer, then people say, why are we backing this? Because we have limited money. We have to support limited founders. So the question is how you fit in each of the funds is the way you have to think about it. Yeah.
Thanks, Shekhar. I think time is up.
Okay, so typically I'm not so transparent. It's a smaller group. I usually talk of great things, great ideas, go and do everything else. I've been a little bit honest, truthful today. So please take with a pinch of salt. I'm always say 80% time I'm right, 20% I'm wrong, and many exceptions have happened to everything I have said in my life. Many founders have demonstrated to me. So whatever we have discussed today, take it with a pinch of salt, go deep, but directionally I'm right, I know, but specifically I may be wrong in your specific industry. So do the homework, please. Thank you.
So, but that's why we love you. Love to hear you. No, this is exactly the reason why we love to hear him, because he's not just a VC, right? He has an entrepreneurial shoes that he wears, and he has actually done early contrarian bets and supported founders through tough times. So if you guys are able to build a case and convince him, please do that.